The smell of the storm. By the time everyone else wakes up, I'm calmed down, but the wind outside sure hasn't. It's an early fall Saturday, gusty with scraps of sun, clouds bouncing off the other ones like bunnies in a basket. Messages on the wind pouring in from everywhere, from dogs making their daily rounds, from feral cats, from anxious raccoons. Basically, everybody's asking the same thing. What is the deal with the weather today? I already know. Weather Channel is on last night with a full screen of a big, white, cotton candy looking swirls. Julia's dad, George, had already taped up several windows. Sarah, her mom, packed an emergency bag just in case we had to evacuate. Another hurricane is on its way, third this season. Not as big as the last couple, but slow moving. I've seen the routine. I know the ropes. Once breakfast is done, I sit on the couch in the living room waiting impatiently for Julia to come home so she can take me on our daily stroll. She has a dog walking service, and she's out walking other dogs. I get out on my private walk because she's my private girl. I can practically taste the storm coming through the open window of the back of my throat. It's tingle, the metallic edge, the fizzy energy. But it's more than that. It's as if the air is up to absolutely no good, sneaking up on the world and looking for trouble. The poetry of stink. Of course, not everybody can smell what I'm smelling. My nose is a zillion times more powerful than humans. Dogs are expert at odor. Students of stink. We analyze the air the way a human reads poetry, searching for invisible truths. And we don't just smell the good and the bad stuff that people notice with their substandard nostrils. The usual suspects, popcorn, the lilacs, the freshly sharpened pencils, diapers, Brussels sprouts, and freaked out skunks. No, our noses get it all. The whole shimmery double rainbow in April. Humans, they're lucky to get a cloudy day in November. We get the molecule of the roast beef dancing in the wind 50 miles from the tidy kitchen where it just slid out of the oven. We get the cherry lollipop under the back seat of the Honda 16 cars up the highway at rush hour. We get things humans can't even dream of getting. We're the ones who find the miracle earthquake babies that cuddled up in their cribs with tons of rubble. We're the ones who find the lost hikers in the wilderness after a quick whiff of sweaty sock. We can even tell when somebody's sick. We can smell seizures, we can smell cancer, and migraine headaches. Try that with your guinea pig, see if they can do that. We smell feelings too. Sad has sharp scents. The undertone of sweetness. Sad smells like being lost in the winter forest as the sun goes down. And happy? Oh, happy is the best. But there's a touch of wistfulness around its edges. Happy smells like bacon ice cream served in an expensive leather shoe. You're going to love every minute of it. But, it won't last forever. The news. Sometimes when Julia and I go for walks, I break at a corner. Corners are the best for fresh news. And she'll tug and say, "Come on, boy. Come on, Bob. There's nothing there." Oh, but there is. Here's the thing about poop and pee. I get that humans are not into them. I see the bathroom doors shut tight. The embarrassed, downcast gazes. You guys are totally missing out. There's a whole lot of info hiding in your average pee mail. When dogs want to share their latest gossip, we just wait. We wait until nature calls. You'd be amazed what we can learn during a quick bathroom break. People read the news, they check the TV, they browse the web. I linger over a fire hydrant and inhale the whole wide world. My ears, by the way, are almost as remarkable as my nose. I can pick up all kinds of things humans can't hear. What we do with our noses and ears is kind of like taking a big old knot and loosening it up. separating out the strands, unbraiding things. People smell a reeking pile of trash in the dumpster. We smell a dollop of cream cheese, a hint of peanut butter, and a smattering of Fruit Loops. People hear the roar of the crowd in the stadium. We hear a strain of wimpy 4-year-olds, a whisper of a worried superfan, a note from a grumpy hot dog vendor. Man, dogs are so cool. Snickers. Well, I watch from the porch in the back of the couch. Julia passes by on the sidewalk. George asks her to keep the dog walking route close to home in case the weather changes. She's wearing a shiny purple raincoat, leading 3 of the dogs, goofy mutt named Winston, a timid dachshund named Oscar Mayer, and her, Snickers. An old nemesis of mine. Snickers is fluffy, white poodle with the delusions of grandeur. A big, snooty pain in the puffball. Oh, that pooch drives me crazy. Our mutual dislike goes back to my early days as a stray. Snickers was a fancy, pampered, sleep on a pink satin pillow kind of gal. Her owner, Mac, ran the mall where I lived with Ivan and Ruby. That's where I first encountered Snickers. She teased me mercilessly, and beneath her fuzzy facade, I always suspected there was a little, spark there. Anyway, after the mall closed down, Snickers being Snickers, landed on her feet. Mac married an older widow lady with more money than sense, and she dotes on that ridiculous poodle. Mac's too lazy to walk Snickers himself, so he hired Julia to do it. Looking good, Snick baby, I call out through the open window, and she gives me her curled up, squinty-eyed face, which, come to think of it, pretty much is how she always looks. As usual, Snickers is dressed up to the max. She's wearing a pink poncho, a sparkly rain hat, a teensy pink boots. The boots were made for mocking, I added for good measure. It feels good giving her some grief. But before I can really relish the moment, another annoying acquaintance of mine appears. Nutwit, the gray squirrel who lives in the live oak tree in front of our front lawn, jumps to the lower branch, looking at me with barely concealed pity. I have pity, especially the barely concealed kind. I don't know why you taunt her, he says. You're hardly in the position to talk, Bob. You are Snickers. Come over here and through that window and say that. So, you can. What, drool me to death? Are you aware my best friend's a gorilla? I ask. You would make a fantastic ape chow dude. Nutwit reaches for the dangling acorn and yanks it free. I thought gorillas were vegetarians. Ivan eats termites, I say. He might make an exception for you. Face it, Bob, you're soft. You're one of those step away from your own pink train boots kind of guy. He has a point, says Minnie, one of the family's guinea pigs from her cage next to the TV. No, he doesn't, says Moo to her cage mate. Yes, he does, Minnie squeaks. Doesn't. Minnie pauses. Wait, you tricked me. The guinea pigs rarely agree on anything. Nutwit leaps over to the window ledge of the acorn in his paw, and he presses his tiny twitchy nose in the screen. You couldn't last a day out here, Bob. Some of us have to live on our own wiles. Hey, I lived down the street longer than you've been alive. Nutwit nibbles his acorn. He's quite the prissy eater. Whatever you say, Bob. I say scram. Fine. Hint taken. Anyway, storm's en route. I should be stocking up on my nut stash while I can. Nutwit gives me a wink, wise guy look. That's how we do it in the real world. and he scampers off with an acrobatic flourish. Squirrels never do simple jump, and a quadruple backflip cartwheel is an option. You're full of it, I say to nobody in particular. We're full of it, says Minnie. Yes, we're extremely full of it, says Moo. They popcorn in agreement. Guinea pigs hop up and down when they're happy. It's called popcorning, and it's totally ridiculous. You're happy. Wag your tail if you're a real mammal. You don't popcorn. I'm not soft, I mutter, nosing my protruding belly. I leap up with effort off the couch. Then I head to the bathroom for a good, long drink of water from the water bowl of power. Spoiled. I know Nutwit has a point. I've become a creature of habit. Spoiled. Spoiled after a stretch of my being my own dog. For a long time, I was Bob the Beast, cunning streetwise. As a stray, I lived off leftovers. At the mall while Snickers dined on her fancy pants kibble. Man, how I love that cotton candy stuck to the floor. That uninspected UFO, unidentified food object. The ends of ketchup covered hot dogs that scattered under the bleachers like, I don't know, big toes or something. Ivan offered to share gorilla food with me, and Stella and Ruby were always ready to pass along a carrot or an apple, but I refused. I needed to stay in shape. I needed to stay tough, stay true to my wild nature. Okay, so maybe every now and then I'd sneak a banana chunk from Ivan's breakfast. But then things changed. I became civilized. I'm a domesticated. I'm a pet. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely some perks. Julia, who's an artist, painted my name on my food bowl. She gave me this wonderfully mushy blanket, the kind you put to bed. You can put bed boogie on it forever, till it's all squished to perfection, and then you can curl up just so. Oh, I love that blanket, but I simply cannot sleep without Knot Tag, Ivan's raggedy old toy gorilla. Of course, just when I get my blanket and Knot Tag imprinted on the right amount of eau de bob, Julia's mom does the unthinkable. She puts them in the washing machine and removes every last bit of me. There are other dignities I tolerate. The daily walk on a tug-of-war string after going stringless in my whole life. The attempts to train me, like, that'll ever happen. The kisses, the cuddling. Well, the cuddling's okay, I suppose. But the kissing, I just don't get it. If you want to kiss your dog, why not just go give him a big old lick on the face and just be done with it? Anyways, so what I've gotten a little spoiled. A tad soft around the edges. There's a difference between being soft and being afraid and being a coward.